Hey all, welcome back and happy Wednesday. Yesterday, we took a look at tables and asked ourselves, if they're graphed, how can I tell if it's a proportion? Today, for our final lesson of this part of 7th grade math, we're going to take a look at some real world examples and ask ourselves, is this a proportional relationship? And be able to say, how do I know? To do that, let's take a look at social media. The reason it's helpful to figure out if something's proportional is because, as you'll see tomorrow, if it is proportional, you can use that to solve problems in new ways. Let's take a look at Luis. Scenario 1 says Luis had 100 Instagram followers and was gaining 50 followers every day. Whenever I, as a mathematician, come across a scenario, the main strategy I will always use, even as sort of like a grown math teacher, is to make a table. And so I'm going to ask myself, okay, what are the two variables I have going on here? Well, he's gaining followers, and he is gaining followers every day. And so days will be my x. And because as the days are going, I am gaining more followers. And so followers would be my y. And so he had 100 followers. So at day 0, when I'm just starting out, I have 100. Luis had 100 followers, and every day he's gaining 50. And you might want to put 150, but we're not going to put 50 because he's gaining 50. And so if he's gaining 50, how many followers will he have on day 1? You should have said 150. How about day 2? How about day 3? Great. There are two ways to tell if this is proportional. Number 1, y over x. So what I could do is I could put y over x and see if it's constant. The second thing I could do is make a graph. We want to make sure that you can use both of these methods to figure out if something's proportional. Let's try the graph method. And it's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. If I take a look and I graph this, and I'm going to put days down here, and I'm going to put followers over here. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to recognize that these numbers are huge. So instead of counting by ones, I'm going to count by 50s. So that way, my math teacher knows that I'm not going to use an entire 7 sheets of paper for this. I'm just going to relabel my x-axis by 50. And so I would count this. It would be 0, 100, 1, 150, 2, 200, 3, 250. And so I would graph this, and it would look like that. Think to yourself, based on what we did yesterday, is this a proportional relationship? Hopefully you said no. Why is this not a proportional relationship? Hopefully you said because it doesn't go through 0, 0. And so this scenario I would label not a proportional relationship. Well, let's take a look at Belinda. Belinda just started her Instagram account and is gaining 75 followers per day. That's way more than Mr. Z has. What was the first thing I did for scenario 1 to try and figure it out? If you said make a table, you are exactly right. Belinda can also make a table. Once again, it's followers per day, so my days are my independent variable or my x, and my followers are my y. And at the beginning, Belinda had none. But every day she's gaining 75. So day 2 would be 75, and day 3, oh, that is wrong. If they're gaining 75 per day, I'm not going to put 75 every time. What will I put here instead for day 2? Hopefully you said 150 and 225. Remember, there are two ways to see if it's a proportion. I could look for the ratio, or I could make the graph. Here I'll use the ratio. 75 over 1 is 75. 150 over 2 is 75. 225 divided by 3 is 75. Those are all the same. So what does that mean? That means yes, this is a proportional relationship. In today's class, you're going to take a scenario make a table and a graph, and let me know if it's